Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Block Bytes, and it's time for our weekly news recap. Let's start with welcoming our co-host, Vicky. Vicky, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Not bad, not bad. Let's start with the market. It's been a great market this week, Vicky. Everything
Yes,
is in.
yes.
What are your thoughts?
Uh, this was actually quite surprising from a technical analysis perspective
It grew
because
technicals.
yeah,
Yeah,
because uh, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, it's still kind of okay, but
correct.
for Bitcoin, it was quite from a technical. I think it was what is it? The narrative actually drove the prices higher,
Mm.
probably. Or second, there's a chance that this is just a short covering rally. That is, many people opened the shorts and they didn't close. What matters is they didn't close.
Right.
Because they thought like Bitcoin is probably going to dump after some point 30K or 32K. They didn't close those shorts,
Mm.
and I think they got eventually liquidated. If you look at last week's liquidations, it was very high.
Okay.
So that is one reason why it could be that reason, whether it was a short covering rally or the Blackrock narrative and the ticker appearing on the DTC side. All these drove the price higher.
What a
We'll
mess.
know whether like if it's going to be sustained, whether if the rally sustains actually, then we
Yeah.
can agree that it is definitely the ETF narrative that is being played out. But if we kind of we see more downside in coming weeks actually, then this is just there is a confirmation that this is just a short covering rally.
Right,
But
right.
whatever it is good for Bitcoin, and for many alt tokens are actually popping up.
Hmm.
If you look at like most alt tokens actually popped up, especially actually even Mina did 100% rally, doubling in price actually. So overall, it is green only and it is good. What I'm thinking is like next week, probably for this week, mid caps performed very well.
Hmm.
So I think it's a turn of large caps next week.
Okay. All
So
right. So any ones in particular that you're interested in? Not that it's any
uh,
advice to
I
the viewers.
personally right now I've taken a long position on INJ, SUI, even BNB. Next week I think the L2s might perform like Arbitrum, Matic.
Yeah. By the way, the okay. Yeah, I don't see the most of these are not L2s, right? They
Yeah,
so
most of
that's
these.
why
Mina is
it's possible
Mina
that
is L2.
yeah, right. All right. So let's move on and take a look at the one of the reasons that Vicky just mentioned might be the reason why we see this whole positive price action on the crypto market. So, and this news is around BlackRock. So the news was that BlackRock has started its preparation to in anticipation of the launch of its ETF, and apparently in that process you actually have a ticker, the name of the fund itself, and it needs to appear in the system, right? So it was seen that a new ticker called IBTC was listed with the Depository Trusting and Clearing Corporation, and here you can see. So this is the moment it appeared, it obviously came on X, and it became a big news, and it was probably one of the reasons, as Vicky also said, to why the market reacted so positively and Bitcoin actually went up. But this is not just the end of the news, because what happened after a certain while, the ticker was removed, and that created a little bit of a confusion, and then it came back again, I believe. So nobody knows what's happening. But this is the scenario at the moment. In related news, I just wanted to bring up the amount of money that is inflowed into the entire crypto space this past week, and you can see that we have seen a big positive inflow in this past week. So partly because of the BTC's news, no, probably because of the BTC news. I mean, there's no other news I think in the that I've seen. But yeah, so this is the main reason why we have such a green market. What are your thoughts on this, Vicky? The whole Bitcoin story.
Yeah, yeah. Last week, yeah, it happened actually. What was quite concerning for me was the appearance and the reappearance and disappearance of the ticker. You
Right.
know, crypto market is very volatile because it is mainly illiquid.
Correct.
Since it is illiquid at the moment, so any you know, even any sensitive news would actually drive up the prices a lot here, or as well as on the lower side.
Right.
So this is one thing. But what what you told, like what you mentioned also last week, there are huge inflows to exchanges actually,
Correct.
and that is the reason that would be clearly seen. There are a lot of USDT being moved onto Binance, Kraken, and Coinbase. It was obvious that this is the reason behind the rally. The question is whether we are in the early stages of a crypto bull run. There are two things note here. Yeah, there are two things note here actually. Definitely, a recession is lurking in the corner. What if the bull run gets front run, gets completed before the recession hits, and then we see, and then when the recession starts, we see it marks the top. This is something on my mind actually.
No, okay. Let me get this straight. You're thinking the recession will come at the time the market is on the rise?
No, I'm saying, like we discussed in our yield curve video, now the yield curve is getting disinverted. It will probably get disinverted in this month end, or probably, I mean, November end or November beginning.
Oh,
somewhere
so soon
there.
is it? Okay.
So what I'm saying is that as soon as the yield curve is disinverted, recession will take probably 6 to 1 year time to actually, you know, start it. Like you cannot say the exact time actually, but it'll take some time, like 6 to 1 months actually. So I think probably the whales or the big players are trying to front run that.
And do what?
And pump up the markets, mark the top before the recession hits, and then pull out money from the crypto markets.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure about one thing, sir. Actually, in fact, this is contrary to what position I was actually took. I was actually telling you that we are in a crypto. I mean, we will not see a proper crypto bull run till 2024, 2025. But it seems that the crypto bull run will get over by 2024, and then 2025 will start seeing the. But the problem with this is if we actually the crypto bull run comes earlier, there is a risk there actually. There is a risk. What risk is because if the crypto bull run comes earlier, you'll see prices going up. There's no doubt in that. But that will be the last bull run.
Right. Before it goes all down, crashing.
Yeah, total crash. This is actually not hope. I was actually not hopeful of this because I was thinking we'll probably crash first and then start a healthy uptrend. But it seems that that's not going to happen. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of there's a lot of volatility in terms of
BlackRock triggered this what is it? BlackRock actually having a lot of. It's very clear that BlackRock is having a lot of influence.
Yeah. Yep. Correct. Yep. Let's see what happens then. We'll be on top of it in our weekly TA and weekly news recap session. So, yep. So let's move on to the next news here. So this news, it was not, well, it originated the week before this week. But I thought I'll include it this time because it reappeared in the news. So there's something more to it. So just to give a little background, Uniswap, the biggest asset swapping or token exchange application on the blockchain, recently came out and said that they want to have a fee associated with the front end that the users use to do these swaps. So the front end is managed by Uniswap Labs, which is the team the core technical team that is behind the application. And the protocol, the Uniswap protocol, is managed by a DAO. So these two teams are kind of in a tussle here now. Ever since this dude think the new fee was announced by the labs, that the labs will basically start charging a fee for every user that uses their front end. The Uniswap protocol is not happy because they are saying that we will not get any part of that revenue. It will all go to the Uniswap Labs team. So there's a little bit of a tussle there between these two teams. And just to give a little detail, they've introduced 0.15% of trading fee on the website. So anybody who goes to the Uniswap app website and uses that app and their wallet will be charged this fee going forward. But if you are using an aggregator or a third party service that for swapping that internally uses Uniswap directly, not through their front end, that this fee will not be applicable to those transactions. So a lot of the rationale given is that the Uniswap Labs is the team which is in charge or in control of, or rather responsible for all the front end development of the application, and they need a certain cash flow, a mechanism through which they can generate revenue. So that is their rationale. But the bigger thing here is that if Uniswap is, some people are actually thinking that if Uniswap is doing this, what is stopping other applications from doing this as well? So it is quite possible, according to some people, that if this thing is successful, which it seems would be successful, because right now they are expecting that in a bear market they may not be able to make a lot of money, but come the bull market they will be making millions of dollars a month just from this trading fee, which is going to be a big amount. So it is possible that other DeFi applications might jump the bandwagon as well and start something similar on their apps. So it is an interesting thing, interesting development in how dynamics within the team and economy works. But I thought this will be an interesting news to cover here. Vicky, what do you think about this?
You have covered most of the aspects, sir.
Yeah.
From my side, my worry is that how will this affect Uniswap as well as its competitors? Right now, if its competitors, they are actually rewarding the token holders.
Correct.
A part of the protocol's revenue goes to them.
Mm-hmm.
This is not happening with Uniswap actually. Only if you provide liquidity on Uniswap, you get to have the benefits out of it.
Correct.
The reason why Uniswap is probably doing this, because if other protocols, its competitors, if they do this actually, they'll be driving away the users from their protocols. The reason why Uniswap is doing it, because the OG.
Yes.
They're quite confident. I think they're quite confident that despite introducing the fees, people will not, go to its competitors and still use Uniswap despite the fees. Correct. This is the assumption that they must have on their minds actually to bring in a fees. Correct. That is true. If in case they're successful, and in case they're successful, and still they are able to maintain the number of users, then it's a big thing actually. Why? Because people prefer Uniswap. Right. People prefer Uniswap, and if this thing actually works out, despite the fees, it is just it kind of confirms the point that people prefer using Uniswap for all its security and everything, other things. Correct. And even if Uniswap introduces a fees, they don't bother because they care about security or providing liquidity on Uniswap. It's liquidity all that matters. Correct. Since Uniswap is having huge liquidity pool, I think I think they'll still be successful with this. Despite the fees, I think people are preferring to use Uniswap because they are the OG. They have a huge liquidity pool and this thing. But now, how it's going to affect the competitors is what should be seen actually. because the competitors are actually losing out on their revenues because they are forced to share it with the users, because the users use them, because they're new protocols, the users use them only if they're incentivized.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is one development that has to be seen how it is going to play out.
Right. Right. Interesting, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, that is true. Just a side note, I would, if there's somebody out there who wants to do swap and wants like the best rate out there, so there is something known as aggregators, right? So I think Llama Swap from DeFi Llama has this very nice aggregator, and they basically go onto all of these websites and get you the best deals. So you don't really need to go to Uniswap per se on their app and pay the trading fee, which is actually quite less if you compare it with, say, MetaMask, which are charging quite a lot of fees. I don't remember how much, but their fees is quite high compared to Uniswap. But here you can find even better deals or even better rates. But just as a side tangent, let's move on to the next news. This is an interesting news for one reason that, well, let's look at the news first. So the news says that Solana co-founder Raj Gokal has warned that certain spam accounts have come on X and other social media accounts, and they're targeting Solana with fake news, right? So Solana has been in the news ever since the even before this bull run, obviously, this so-called narrative, because institutions, it seems, are starting to warm up towards Solana. Visa mentioned it in their paper. They're doing payments pilots on Solana. Then you have even ETFs like VanEck thinking about Solana. So a lot of institutions, and of course, Solana probably has been the best alt L1 when it comes to here you go. See, from flow, the amount of flows into asset wise, if you look at Solana, it has been the best after Bitcoin, right? And Solana has actually really moved up in the price chart. So there's a lot of eyes on Solana, and no wonder fake news is also popping up around it. So it's just some information out there. If you're looking at some Solana fake news, or rather news about exploits and issues in it, then make sure you take it with a pinch of salt, do some of your research, and try to get to the bottom of it. What do you think about this, Vicky?
No, yes, sir. Like you told, this seems to be kind of a coordinated FUD on Solana. Because if you look at database, on-chain database, Solana seems to be actually visible in the inflows also. And you look at the performance this year, Solana, the price wise also, Solana has been a big performer,
right,
compared to its counterparts.
Absolutely.
Despite the fact that FTX holds a lot of Solana, and they could sell anytime.
Correct.
If you look at it, in fact, I think 1 month before, like 1 month, 1.5 months before, September, and I think there's a lot of FUD on Solana that FTX is going to sell their Solana holdings. We even discussed in our crypto news.
Correct.
I also thought that it's not possible, and its price has rallied, almost doubled since that.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely, this fake news seems to be kind of coordinated against Solana.
Coordinated against Solana, yes.
But of course, from a user's point of view, they should never fall for any news. It should be verified.
Correct. All right. Let's move on to the next news. DYdX, which is a derivative platforms. Originally, I think it was on Polygon and Ethereum. A few months back, or maybe it was last year, I don't quite remember, they made a decision to move over to the Cosmos network. The main reasons were that they want to expand in terms of the number of transactions that they can handle as a system. And they felt that the existing Polygon network and Ethereum will not scale up to that. And there were some other technical requirements also that they had. So they made a very sound decision, a very well thought decision with respect to what their app needs. And now the news is that they're finally launching the mainnet on the layer 1 Cosmos. Just to give you a little background on Cosmos, things are a little different. They're not like on Ethereum where you can, you have the public blockchain secured by thousands of Ethereum validators. In Cosmos, you have to actually create your own app chain, which means you have to have your own blockchain and your own set of validators as well, which is the biggest bottleneck for a lot of the applications, because they want to focus on app development and not network development or infrastructure development. Nevertheless, as here, it said that after years of development, they were actually able to get 60 plus validators to their test nets, which is a great news for them. And now these validators will be moving to the main net. So kudos to them, and great job. I think they have, and I think DYdX is going to be another platform or another protocol to keep an eye on. I don't quite track DYdX myself, but it has been in the news lately for a lot of positive news. And this is another positive news, I'm sure, for the network and the application itself. What do you think, Vicky?
This is definitely good news for DYdX and Cosmos, and bad news for Polygon. If you see it, like quite recently, there are many projects moving on to Cosmos chain, despite the difficulties faced there. And quite frankly, I don't know why. Many are actually leaving Polygon. This is quite concerning for Polygon. As a Polygon fan, also, this is quite concerning for me.
Right.
As to why they're all, many projects are actually quitting Polygon, citing technical issues. This is something that Polygon needs to address.
Yeah.
And DYdX, I've used DYdX actually for perpetual trading once, and they are the best actually. Right now, they are the best actually. Probably GMX also.
Correct.
So, like you said, this is one protocol that users need to keep an eye on. A lot of developments came in. It has also a lot of influencers are also fans of DYdX actually. In fact, DYdX is aims for Indian users basically. If you look at it, they have specialized Indian subsidiary kind of a thing.
Oh,
where
I didn't know.
Yes, yeah. So basically, the DYdX is kind of Solana. They have a lot of they're targeting the Indian market. There's no doubt in that. So them moving on to Cosmos as a standalone layer 1 is actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think Polygon they know what they're doing. I feel with the whole change to Polygon 2.0 and embracing the whole ZK zero knowledge framework. I think it's bound that some projects will move out of it, and then some projects will join in. So in the long term, I think this is my feeling, obviously. I think they know what they're doing.
For me, this saying it's quite concerning, because there is why are they moving actually off Polygon? Correct. Because like you told, it is definitely they know what they're doing and they're the best actually. But the thing is, they have to look into this.
This is not new news, to be honest. But if there have been, now I've not been tracking what all applications have moved out of Polygon after DYdX. But if there are if this is as you said, is a a series of applications that have actually moved out of Polygon, then you're right. It is something of a concern.
Yeah, the problem is there are a lot of L2s right now competing against each other.
Right.
That big chunk, it's a big chunk because before only quite a few months out. That big chunk,
Oh,
because scaling is important and scaling is what the enterprises look for. So there are a lot of layer 2s emerging on that side. So obviously that chunk will be now split into different.
A lot of market competition, lot of competition.
Yes, for layer 2s.
Let's move on to the next news. Now, this is you cannot have a week without any hacks or attacks or exploits. So this is the exploit of the week. I don't know much about Telegram bots, but I wanted to include it. The biggest Telegram trading bot by the name of Maestro suffered some kind of a attack from hackers and lost almost 300 ETH tokens from its router contract. The good news is that they figured out where the problem was, and they were able to fix it. Telegram bots I stay away from these things. I am not savvy enough to kind of, I mean, I don't indulge in a lot of trading activity anyways. But even for those who are in trading, I don't know how many actually are, I don't know if savvy is the good word for it, but how many are positively interested in Telegram. And I'm sure, Vicky, you have your thoughts around this. So I'll ask you to jump in and take this from here. What do you think about this whole, what is this whole trading bot and this ecosystem? And, is it something that you recommend or do you use?
One advantage of trading, I've used Unibot.
Okay.
For quite some time. I think like 2-3 months before I used Unibot. And from a user interface point of view, Unibot for me is definitely good.
Okay.
No doubt in that. And it makes trading very easy. Like you told us that you not be savvy, technically savvy to use the trading bot. It's actually trading bot is far simpler than our normal protocols, like normal trading protocols or trading apps. They're making it even user friendly. This is I'm not saying like the Unibot, like you're not kind of promoting Unibot. I'm saying like I have used Unibot and I found it very good.
Right.
But the problem is there are a lot of trading bots that came after Unibot.
Okay.
And they didn't quite actually focus on the security aspect. This is not the first time that a trading bot has been hacked. A few days before, even another trading bot called Banana Bot was launched, and during the initial stage of its launch itself, which was actually audited by Certic, the bot faced problems. There's a breach of security, and the bot faced problems. Of course, they did the thing right and came back online. Trading bot, we can how trading bot works, we can actually kind of discuss in a separate video, which actually uses actually. But for now, what I'm saying is, if anyone is using trading bots for trading, it's better to keep some portion of your money there actually, instead of putting everything on a trading bot.
Correct. I mean, I think, sorry to jump in.
Right. See, people actually using trading bots and putting their entire money there just because this was easier to trade. But that should not be the case actually, and people should exercise caution. However good the trading bot is, however good the user interface is, you are supposed to keep only your partial funds there.
That is true for any trading. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So here we go. So not a big hack, but nevertheless, trading bot is a big narrative. So people, please be careful out there, and just keep your eyes peeled. Let's move on to the next news of the day. Now, public blockchains, we know that privacy is a big issue that we don't. It's an open public infrastructure. You can watch transactions. So privacy. How do you bring privacy to a public blockchain like Ethereum? is a big challenge. And recently, Nocturne Labs which have created a kind of account abstraction set of accounts where you can actually, you can hide your transactions from the people, from the public. But Vitalik and some of the other people have actually invested in it, and this is a interesting project to watch out for. My take is that it is one of the early implementations of how privacy can be implemented. So it is like an experimental thing, and a lot of studies, a lot of whatever the outcome of this experiment would be, will finally decide where privacy and how privacy is going to be, how privacy will actually look like at the end. Which is why this is very important. At least it's one of those main steps that have been taken in recent times, of where privacy has come to the forefront. It has always been in the discussions within the core development teams and others, but then not a lot actually comes out in the front in terms of an actual application that promotes privacy. So from that aspect, this is a great news. What do you think, Vicky?
Sir, any privacy protocol, like we discussed numerous times on this, any privacy protocol will eventually have to comply with the regulations. So I think even Nocturne Labs will eventually is planning to stay. It has to stay compliant. There's no doubt in that.
Correct.
There are two ways privacy can be ensured. One is like a regulated privacy. Regulated privacy. By regulated privacy, I mean that my identity may not be revealed, but my transactions can be used for legit purposes. And I think that is their best use case, and I think they want that only.
Right.
The second is mixers, like totally anonymous mixers, like Tornado Cash or Thor Shrapnel till like last month. So this privacy will definitely be, it's a definite no-no for regulators.
Right.
And I think Nocturne Labs is focusing on the earlier thing, the former thing I told about, that privacy from an individual perspective, or not from a public perspective.
Correct.
So privacy-based protocols, we have to see how that develops actually. And I think most of them are, most of them will eventually turn compliant with the regulations.
Yep, that is true. Yes, that is eventually going to happen. So we'll keep an eye on this and the whole privacy narrative.
Actually, this is a very, from a government's point of view, this is very important. Why? Because if in the future the government start using privacy-based protocols, it ensures transparency for citizens.
Correct. Yep. So it works for everybody. So yeah. Right. Let's go on to the last news of the day. Games. So a Call of Duty style video game, Shrapnel, recently raised $20 million, and I don't track the gaming environment, but Web3 gaming as a narrative is something that really interests me. They have certainly moved beyond just NFT gaming, and slowly but surely we'll start seeing on-chain good quality games popping up. So if you're interested in this space, please, if you're interested in games, please keep an eye out on blockchain based games going forward. What do you think, Vicky?
Gaming has been a big narrative for narrative in crypto actually.
Right.
And I think it will probably kind of escape the eyes of the regulator also. What to note here is that so far we have not had even sandbox or even Decentraland
Mhm.
We haven't had, if you look, if you we haven't had a proper AAA video game on blockchain.
Hmm.
Some people would quote Sandbox or even Decentraland. But if you look at last year, there was a report that said there are less than 100 users for Sandbox.
Mm. Yeah,
So I think there are two requirements now. We need a proper, AAA game that actually those developers actually build the game with the intention of building a game,
right.
building a good game, rather than focusing on the issue of a token
Correct.
price action. Unless this happens, we are probably this sector is not going to actually, attract the eyes of the gamers.
Correct. Because that is what gamers want. They want a proper game.
Games. They want good quality games.
Mm.
But so far, look at any game that has any gaming that has been developed on blockchains. They're all focused on issue of a token and how to not manipulate, actually, how to drive the price of the token up. Instead of focusing on those aspects, if they could just focus on the game, it would be very nice actually. And
Right.
that is when gaming will actually pick up developing on blockchains. I hope Shrapnel does something that actually triggers this, but let us see.
Yeah, let's see. This is an interesting narrative. So keep an eye on this as well. And that's all we have for this week's crypto news recap. I hope you liked this session, and I will see you next time with another crypto news recap.